Greetings. My name is Ghastly.
Doc Ghastly.
I am a scholar and scientist, and I'm here now to teach you all about the dangers of the supernatural. So please watch till the end, and stay safe. Episode 1, Demons. All you need to know about demons, and how to protect yourself from them. I will also put the most important sources in the end credits, for further studies. Introduction. Demons are non-human entities, and thus very dangerous. The demons naturally exists in a dimension separated from our world. Their main goal is to enter our dimension in order to steal energy and life from humans. Let's first take a look at Encyclopedia Britannica, to understand what demons are in historical context. Demons. The term demon is derived from the Greek word daimon, which means a supernatural being or spirit. Though it has commonly been associated with an evil or malevolent spirit, the term originally meant a spiritual being that influenced a person's character. An agathos daimon, good spirit, for example, was benevolent in its relationship to humans. The Greek philosopher Socrates, for example, spoke of his daimon as a spirit that inspired him to seek and speak the truth. The term gradually was applied to the lesser spirits of the supernatural realm who exerted pressures on the humans to perform actions that were not conducive to their well-being. The dominant interpretation has been weighted in favor of malevolence and that which forebodes evil, misfortune, and mischief. Well, that was demons in the mythology. But you should understand that there is a clear difference between mythology and fact. Real demons are not quite like the ones in mythology. As mentioned, the demon's main goal is to enter our dimension in order to steal energy and life from humans, through possession. They can only do this if they find a portal or a door between the dimensions. The most common portal or door is the Ouija board, when used strongly during seances. The name is derived from French oui and German ja, both means yes. Most people pronounce it wrongly, as Ouija, but the correct name is Ouija. Anyway, do not use the Ouija board, unless you are an experienced medium/clairvoyant and know what you are doing. I will make an episode dedicated to Ouija boards and seances later on. If you are interested, please leave a comment below. One should not attempt to contact the demons in any way, if you value your life. We know this because of the accounts of all those people who have been possessed, or experienced demons in one way or another. Most of these tales are terrifying and sinister, and rarely go well. Did you know that one of the most scary horror movies, the legendary The Exorcist, in fact are based on 3 actual incidents of demonic possessions? The Exorcist. The real truth behind the movie classic The Exorcist from 1973. Most people have either seen or heard about the horror classic The Exorcist, who premiered in 1973, based on the bestseller novel written by author William Peter Blatty. But few people knows the real truth behind the novel and the movie, so please sit back and listen carefully. Blatty's novel was in fact inspired by 3 actual accounts of exorcism, performed by the Catholic Church. The 1949 exorcism of a young boy Robbie from Cottage City, Maryland. The 1928 Erling possession case, Iowa, USA, was also the basis for another horror movie, The Exorcism of Anna Wakelund, 2016, directed by Andrew Jones. The horrifying Loudun exorcisms in 1634, France. Dramatized in the movie, The Devils from 1971, directed by Ken Russell. The Maryland Exorcism. In 1949, several newspapers reported an alleged possession and eventual exorcism of a boy known as Robbie, or Roland Doe. Robbie grew up in a German Lutheran family and, after expressing an interest in Ouija boards, his spiritualist Aunt Harriet introduced him to one. It was after the death of his aunt that the family began experiencing seemingly paranormal activity in the house. This ranged from vibrations, strange noises, flying objects and levitation. Blatty described this as the first stage of classical possession, infestation, and used this in his novel before the full possession of Regan, who is portrayed by Linda Blair in the movie The Exorcist. The violence, guttural voice and revulsion for sacred items displayed by Regan is also inspired by Robbie's possession. The 1928 Erling possession case. The exorcism of the 46-year-old woman variously called Anna Eklund, Eva Mary Bott, Emma Schmidt, or simply Mary, in Erling, Iowa, in 1928, is legendary. The exorcism was performed by Father Joseph Steger and Father Theophilus Riesinger. Father Joseph Steger wrote, "At the first meeting with the woman, she did not give the impression of being possessed, quite the opposite. We talked quite normally on the way to the Franciscan monastery where the exorcism was to take place. But as soon as we got inside, this changed. I said, 'God bless you, my child,' but Mary screamed and spat in my face." The exorcism began on August 6, after obtaining permission from the Bishop of Iowa. When Father Riesinger and Father Steger entered the room, Mary was held down by 3 nuns. The woman began to scream as if she were in the most terrible agony, and her eyes almost popped out of her head. Father Riesinger then began his exorcism prayer, the one approved by Pope Leo XIII. On the first day Father Riesinger and Father Steger were showered with harsh unintelligible screams of voices from Mary. The possessed woman bellowed like a cow. The noises became so loud that the nuns had to take turns being in the room. At one point, the woman rose and hovered 4 feet above the bed. Father Steger and the 3 nuns were unable to push her down onto the bed with physical force. Father Riesinger read Archangel Michael's prayer over and over again, and touched the woman with his crucifix, then she was thrown back onto the bed by an invisible force. Father Steger eventually became almost sick from the stench in the room, and said it was a stench of death. Mary ate almost nothing, apart from a tiny bit of soup that the nuns fed her every night. Despite this, Mary vomited 20 to 30 times a day while the exorcism was going on. The exorcism could last 12 hours straight, and Mary spewed out the strangest things, of a devilish nature, like live insects and other weird organic matter. On the 12th day, Father Riesinger was exhausted from fasting, and the emaciated woman appeared to be close to death. The exorcism was therefore temporarily halted. During the break, Father Riesinger had other things to attend to in another city. Mary stayed in the convent. Father Steger was relieved to get a break, but it wasn't to last long. At night he was troubled by noises, and his bed shook. So he began to sleep in his rectory with his clothes on and the prayer book beside him. When he was awakened by a noise, he got up from his chair, read from the prayer book and blessed the house. Thus it became quiet. The exorcism was supposed to be kept in secret, but when Father Riesinger returned he informed the congregation about the possessed woman and wanted them to pray for Mary. This was unknown to Mary, but still Mary has tell you, they plead to no avail. When the exorcism started again, Mary's body swelled up, taking the shape of a barrel. It was not humanly possible, said Father Steger. The woman then turned her head towards Steger and screamed, "You're the cause of this, so shut your mouth." The next morning, Father Steger drove to a nearby farm, where he was to give a sick parishioner the last oil. On the way back, a dark veil descended before his eyes and he lost control of his carriage and drove into the railing of the bridge. When he came to himself again, he saw that the carriage was balancing on the edge of the bridge. Father Steger said a short prayer and made it to safety. When he later went up the stairs to the monastery, he heard the demons shouting at Father Riesinger, "There, we got rid of your partner, you old fool." On September 19th, the 23rd day of the exorcism arose. Father Steger constantly had a veil before his eyes, and had to rely on his memory when he read the prayers. When he misread, then the demons would correct him, first in German, then in Latin, then Italian and other languages. The drool came out of the woman's mouth, and often she threw the nuns violently across the room, with her arms that were barely more than bones due to the emaciation. The possessed woman frantically tried to reach the priest, several times, but luckily she was stopped by him sprinkling holy water on her every time. At 9 o'clock in the evening we felt the woman's strength, it permeated the whole room. The woman struggled free from the nun's grip, and stood up like a statue in bed, only her heels touching the bedspread. Mary stared rigidly at the priest. It was very disturbing. Father Riesinger then touched the woman's forehead with the crucifix, and said, "Begone, you evil enemies of hell, God himself casts you out." The woman collapsed on the carpet, and the room fell silent. After a few minutes, Mary opened her eyes and exclaimed, "Thank God, I'm free." Unfortunately, she was not completely free. Mary's obsession never completely ceased. Her first exorcism took place in 1908, then in 1926, 1928, 1931 and 1932. The woman, whose real name was probably Eva Mary Bott, died in 1944. There is another horror movie based on this story, The Exorcism of Anna Eklund 2016, directed by Andrew Jones. The movie is not only bad, but it's quite inaccurate, and only got a 2.5-star rating at IMDb. The Loudun exorcisms in France, in the year 1634. The last incident that inspired the Exorcist movie, is the Loudun possessions of 1634, in France. In this case a group of nuns claimed possession after having illicit dreams about an attractive priest named Bon Grandeur. During the exorcisms they convulsed, blasphemed, and made sexual motions towards the priests, similarly to the infamous crucifix scene in The Exorcist. In a desperate attempt to clear his name, Grandier tried to exorcise the nuns himself, testing them by speaking in Greek, which is a sign of possession, understanding and speaking languages previously unknown to the subject. However, they had been coached and responded by saying they made a pact not to speak Greek. Despite Grandier's best efforts, he was imprisoned and tortured. Some of the nuns in question even came to his defense towards the end of the trial, but this was dismissed as the devil's work, and that unfortunate priest, Bon Grandeur, was burned at the stake. This account of exorcism and demonic possession was also made into a movie classic, The Devils from 1971, directed by Ken Russell.